What up, man?
What up, team? What up? What up?
Man, good. Hey, let me introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Bishop Joseph Walker, senior pastor of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, best friend on this earth, presiding bishop for Full Gospel, on the board of Tennessee State University, do a lot of great things. How many services? 2 churches?
One church, 4 locations.
One church, 4 locations.
Yeah.
How many services you do every Sunday? You have to preach?
1 at each location. So 1 in each of the 4 locations. And then we have virtual campuses around the world. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we were having a conversation. First of all, let me just start by saying, we're not doing this live to throw shade. It's just to have a conversation. And I think sometimes it's always helpful to have a conversation about things that hurt us, things that bother us. Bishop Walker and I are not only close. He was there for me when my son passed away. Then before that, his mother passed away. Been there for each other through thick and thin. We also fraternity brothers of the greatest fraternity on this earth, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Bishop, it's been a trying week for me last week, and I'm glad that I waited until today. Yeah. Following your advice, was talking about some things, because it's been a real tough week. First of all, I'm on a 1 year of my son's passing, so I'm going through all of the trigger stuff, and then all of the social media downpour, and in the middle of trying to give the correct response and do the right thing, and that with the producer talking in my ear, messed up the 4 cards. Which I do. And it's almost like, of course, the 4 cards. It's almost like somebody walk up to you and say, "What's my name?"
Yeah.
Completely goes blank.
Yeah.
I've had some bad incidents with people because I did not remember them.
Oh yeah.
Or if I did not remember their name, and a lot of time people don't know that they're doing it, put expectations on your memory when they don't do the same thing that you do. Yeah. We're both public speakers. You got 3,000 members at one service, and then all of the other services are packed and people shaking your hands Sunday after Sunday. You do weddings, you do funerals. When you came to my church and preached in '92, I was on the 3rd row. I'm Miss Smith. You don't remember me. And the thing about it is we don't lie to people either.
Yeah.
If I don't remember, I'm honest enough to say I don't remember. But make me know who you is.
Right.
Bring me in on that conversation we were having and what you was talking about when we were having that conversation, and then also let everybody know how they can follow you on social media.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Ricky, man, and of course. We were talking about, how people need to understand how trauma impacts those of us who are public figures. And often I think people lose sight of our humanity and what we do, because what we do it with so much grace. Just because we carry it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. And often people are not cognizant of the triggers, the things that we harbor privately. We carry them, and we only talk about them with a select group of people who really can identify with what we deal with. I always say there's always a backstory when you see someone that legitimately has a great heart. Everybody knows you're thoroughly immersed in Omega Psi Phi. The bros know that. Everybody knows Rickey Smiley's heart. When you make a misstep, people exacerbate that. People climb on and pile on because they don't necessarily really understand what may be happening contextually in your life. I know as your best friend what you're dealing with in this season. I know that you nor I have ever put ourselves in a position that we felt we were exempt from critique, particularly when we've done something, we felt we've done something wrong, but if we haven't done anything wrong, then we're trying to figure out what's the deal. And oftentimes, when people lash out or say things, it's in the backdrop of our own pain and trauma. So it's kind of a pile on. For example, I was in the mall a few weeks back. Never will forget this. And everybody who knows Bishop Joseph Walker III knows I'm the most relational person. I shake hands after every service. I do weekly Zooms. I talk to my members. They know that. Everybody knows I'm just down to earth guy. And there was this family that was walking through the mall, and this mother with her two children who had just moved to Nashville from Alabama, actually. And I found this out later. I had walked out of the car with my wife, and I was walking behind my wife because I had gotten out the car after receiving a death notice of someone who, it was a traumatic death of a young person in my congregation. I was shook. I literally was getting off the phone, walking in the mall. So I was in a daze. So I walked by this person, and apparently they must have spoken, but I was in a daze. So I check, my team sends me a message about later on that night that this person has gone in saying, you could have had two good members, but they looked at you like, you just walked through them and you didn't notice us or whatever. And I went on. I personally responded because that's my heart. And I said, I'm so sorry. That's not my heart. I'm not an arrogant person. I just received a death call and explained this. I mean, I went through a long, and I found myself having to explain until God had to pause and say, look, bruh, this is something that you're going to have to live with, that people oftentimes forget that you are a human being. They have no idea of the entrances and exits you experience before you encounter them. So when you talk about what you've dealt with, and I know it, when you dealt with the passing of your son, I know that every holiday, everything you had to experience is always in your mind. You're having flashbacks, you're having private moments where you're grieving, and you're having to be on all the time. So somebody comes and says, hey, tell me this, and then on top of that, as the professional that you are, people are always speaking in your ear. People don't have any concept of that. You watch television networks, there's something in their ear all the time. You on the radio, they're in your ear all the time. And then somebody's asked you to be on, and you got to process that through the trauma. And people don't realize it's different. And we pledge, we know what it's like to be under pressure, under duress. We get that. But the reality is, man, like, there is no, Ricky, there is no name in the dictionary for what you went through. For example, if a husband, as I did, you were there with me when I lost my first wife, Diane, that made me a widower, okay? Lose your parent, you become an orphan. What do you call it when you lose a child? It's so messed up, they don't even give a name for that. Think about it. There's no category. So you lost a child, and you lost a child in real time, publicly, walking through the airport, people not even knowing the call you just got, seeing you, probably saying, hey, can I get a picture? You thinking like, you have no idea. I'm trying to get on this plane to get back. And then you get back, and then you have to take on, because you're Rickey Smiley, you stewarding every single thing, making certain that his mom is straight, you making sure she's honoring the thing, you doing all the right things, you doing everything you're supposed to do, and then you don't have really a place, a space to really grieve. And so now your grief is exactly what David says. We don't run through the valley, we walk through the valley. And the reality is, in our community, among our people, we don't oftentimes understand how the need for people to grieve and to be more empathetic to people who've had that kind of traumatic experience. And sometimes they really don't understand. People don't know what they don't know. And I'm saying, man, you got to do what Jesus did. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, it was the you know the incident with all the comedians, because I didn't get to grieve. I had to protect my my kids. I had to call all three of my kids and let them know that their oldest brother passed away. I had to protect them. So in my mind, in my body, my son just died 3 months ago. It's been a year, right?
Right.
So coming up on the 1 year, I'm already starting to get the triggers.
Yeah.
And you're trying to deal with this whole situation because you don't know what's going on with the media. The media was on top of me, and I'm trying to find a way to correctly, um, tell what happened. You're in the middle of a radio show. You got your producers talking in your ear, telling you to go to commercial. Yeah. You just, same thing. We have to be out by a certain because you have a commercial break.
Yeah.
And damn it, you messed up the cards, and then I knew, like, and then you put pressure on yourself because you're trying to make sure that you do that part right, dealing with the media thing, and you going through grief like bad, because I had a breakdown of pride that morning because I played Jonathan McReynolds that morning, if I'm not mistaken, that God is Good song, because I needed a 2-minute song. I didn't remember that was the song that stayed in my head to get me from Dallas to Birmingham, that just to hold me up. And then it's one thing to get dragged by fans that are not mine, or whatever, because what you told me was you can't, Pastor Keon's told me that you cannot change an already made up mind. Because he gave me a call. He gave me a call, like Steve gave me, like certain people, my mentors and people that I love. But what broke me down and actually made tears come down my eyes when I know that I serve our organization, and I love it so much. A total misrepresentation of people like yourself, people like Brother James, Jim Clyburn, Democratic Minority Whip, and people, different ones that mentor me, because I found fathers in the fraternity. I found older brothers in the fraternity. I found nephews in the fraternity, and it's been great for 23 years, and I just never experienced that. I've had some crazy experiences, but it got into a physical altercation because there was an argument because I didn't remember somebody. Man, my mind is like so many people. You know what I'm saying? So many people. And when people walk up to you and ask you, "Do you remember me?" That puts you on the spot.
Yeah.
And once you put on the spot, you can't remember anything.
Remember anything? You can't remember anything. I had, you were there, man. You saw me, and I remember you hugged me and said, "Bro, you took that like a G. Like, you looked at me, man, at my mom's funeral, man. Me having to get up there, man. You know what I'm saying? Me having to get up there, bro, and do that, like, and then here's the crazy part. Mom dies, 2 years ago, December, and then I never forget, man. Like, the first Mother's Day, I'm up preaching at my church, right? I'm like, man. And looking at all these mothers, I'm so happy for everybody. I'm thinking, like, man, like, I'm just like, my mom would be like, watching every Sunday. I'm having this vision of her in the chair watching me, talking about, and then people will come up to you and they'll ask you something. They don't mean any harm. They just do what they normally do, and you'll forget. You'll black out, and you really don't remember. You just, like, it. I'm looking at you, and I know who you are, but my mind right now can't make my mouth say it. And people don't give you enough grace in that. They don't realize that, man, you just lost your mother. Now you point out to us on Mother's Day. You just lost your son. It's the holidays. You dealing with all this, and you won't get no days off. And the irony, the paradox of your life is that you got to make people laugh while you grieve. That, my brother, nobody will ever get that. Like, you gotta, you're supposed to make the world laugh while you cry. And it's just one of those things, man, that and knowing you like I know, we walked through some stuff together. My first wife died, man. You were there for me. I looked up that day in the chemo. You remember that I was in that room, waiting room. You came 2:00 in the morning, man. Looked over my shoulder. I was knocked out asleep, but you were there. And people don't understand your heart and how many people you've been there for. Not just me, but so many other people. I have seen you, like, do things you never even posted. And people don't realize that. And my thing is, I think we're in a season now. If people that know you, that's what you roll with. At the end of the day, you don't have nothing else to prove. If your work, your body of work right now ain't enough for people, bruh, then really people are your friends until they not. At the end of the day, don't make people famous who want to exploit your trauma. Don't make them famous. Some people don't deserve a response because they want that response because they want to leverage their voice on your platform. And what you got to do is just, you know what? You can't quote silence. So if anybody wants to feel that way or whatever, I'm at a point in my life, I'm like, look, I've been down Mount Zion Church for 32 years in April. I went there when I was 24 years old, bro. At this point, I'm like, if you don't know me by now, at the end of the day, I can do about it. My work speaks for me, like your work speaks for you. And at the end of the day, you got to continuously remind people that you're a human being, that you are a human being. And let me just say this, and I say it to all the people that's listening, man. My passion for leadership. I've written on leadership. My last book, Leadership and Loneliness, was about all this because what people don't realize, you a leader, I'm a leader. There are people that do things at a variety of places at high levels. Here's the deal. People don't realize that we are leading while bleeding. Let that sink in, bro. We are leading while bleeding. And we have developed the capacity to patch up our wounds and go and triage somebody else's situation and walk them through difficult times like you have done when you have lost family members or you have seen people lose people. You got on the radio and talked about people that was in bad situations and you have bandaged up your wounds. And just because you bandaged it up don't mean that the blood wasn't still flowing from you because you were still bleeding. And oftentimes, those of us that lead while bleed don't have nobody to talk to about it. You can count on a retarded hand how many people you can pick up the phone. Because what happens, Ricky, in our life, in our world, and I think everybody listening to understand this, you know it or not know it, 98% of the people in our contact list on our phone, when they call us, is can I, can you, will you, are you, 2% are how you doing? I don't want nothing. I just want to check on you. If 98% of the people need you and 2% feed you, that becomes your reality. 98% need you and only 2% truly feed you. That's what leading while bleed. That's what leading and bleeding looks like, bro. And that's what we're called to do. Unfortunately, it's what we do. We do it with grace. We do it because we're called to do it. You don't have a job. You got a call. It's a purpose. You're the voice of Black America, right? We're out here trying to make a difference. We're trying to change the mindset of our people. We're trying to galvanize our people. And the reason why it hurts so bad, because it's friendly fire. it's people you're trying to help. It's the people that you put your arm around and giving platform to. The enemy knows those are the only people that can really hurt us. It ain't the known enemies. We can handle that. It's the people that you really love and care about. And when they do stuff like that, it's like, man,
Yeah.
I'm just minding my own freaking business. And then all of a sudden, but that's just what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah. One thing I've learned over the years that two things were God to give you double for your trouble. Yeah.
Won't he do it?
All of this stuff that we go through, man, is only a test. Anybody out there that's going through anything, I don't care what it is, God is always looking at you to see how you're going to handle that situation. Are you going to make this situation about you? Are you going to use this situation in order to try to help others? Because much is given, much is required. And I just thank God for my training and being raised around old people, sense enough to turn to God in my time of need, sense enough to do what I'm doing and think of others as well, because it's not just about me. Because my son died, but I have one of my best friend's daughter was murdered. Daughter was on the front porch. She's 21 years old, shot 7 times. And, a lot of situations like that where people got to go to court. Ain't no court for me. You understand? And right when you think you got it bad, somebody else got it worse, but it still hurt.
Yeah, it hurts.
I mean, it hurt like hell.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like hurt.
yeah.
And it feel like the whole world coming down on you. And sometimes you're scared to stick your head out of the door. You don't know what you're gonna face. If I go over here to the pancake house, what somebody gonna sell, what they gonna do. It just have you feeling kind of paranoid. Am I going? Because I don't know. All of these thoughts just go through your head, and it's something. Crying, breaking down, crying before you go on stage. Tell jokes, the butterflies, the anxiety. New Year's Eve, it was a countdown. And New Year's Eve, my mind was so messed up, my anxiety was so high, and I kept seeing the countdown. And then they started showing all the people that died in 2023, and it was making me feel like my son was about to die again.
Can you imagine, Ricky? Can you imagine, like, for 2 years since my mom passed? First of all, like, this is like the 16th, just for record, you know that the 16th of January is the anniversary of my first wife passing. She died on a Sunday, January 16th, 2005. So every time this year, I get, just kind of, it's been 19 years, and it's still tender to the touch. But can you imagine, since my mom passed 2 years ago, how many funerals I've had to do? And every time I see one of them caskets close, I don't see the person that I'm eulogizing. I see my mama. I gotta be bishop. I gotta be pastor. And I'm ministering to these people. And I'm like, and I want to tell my church, I just can't do funerals, but I gotta do them. And it's like, in my mind, I'm sitting there like every single time. I don't care who's in that casket. When I'm sitting up there in that pulpit, and I see that casket close. All I remember is closing my mama. I keep reliving it over and over and over and over again, and nobody knows it. And you walk in the car, you walk outside, and you're crying. Nobody see you crying, and you got a G up. You pull it together. You're like, all right, game face, time to do this, and nobody know. And then people say, well, you should be over that by now. You should be stronger. You should do this. I'm like, man, you got to listen. You what? Until you've been, and those who on here who've been there, they understand what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about, because this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And our people, we got to be more empathetic. We got to be more patient, allow more grace and space for people who make missteps, who may drop a ball, who may, be in a space where it's like, man, I just don't be bothered right now. There's just moments. I mean, I know there have been moments you're like, man, I don't even want to go on the air today. But then you suck it up because you go on the air not for yourself, but you go on the air for something bigger than yourself. Days in which I'm like, man, I ain't want to preach today. I ain't want to go out there. I ain't want, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, I got to go do it because it's bigger than me. I died, Paul says, I died that you might live.
Right. Yeah. And I watched you at your mom's funeral. I was sitting behind you. And in that moment that you was talking about, I just remember you just kind of looked to the side and just kind of shook your head like, I'm not going to even watch the rest of this. And,
I'll check it out. Yeah.
And I remember when I think Mother's Day came around and you was on the morning show, and I just freaking started crying, man. I just felt so bad for you.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, dog, don't do that. I'm straight. Like it tore me up. And then at my son's funeral, I could not cry because my granddaughter had her eyes on me the entire time.
Yeah.
And I her to have the memory that I had of my grandparents crying when my dad was in that casket.
Yeah.
So I held it together, and I kept looking over at her, smiling, peekaboo, playing games, and she came and sat in my lap, and just all of this stuff, man, I didn't get a chance to. My son was behind me. I remember you reaching back, trying to come. I had your wife and your sister. And I remember just taking your sister's head and just putting it on my shoulder, and cover up her eyes so she wouldn't see that. And to this day, me and her have a bond.
Yeah, sure do.
To this day.
Yeah.
I feel like, but I just really thank you for your words. I hope that everybody that's watching, I think we should do this on a variety of topics more.
Yeah.
Because it's having a regular conversation, seeing yourself and myself in this element, having a conversation with some topics, but we should do this more. I think a lot of people learn from this tonight. And I really appreciate you taking up time to do this.
Man, thank you for including me, man. Thank you for, I hope it just blessed them, but I hope it really helped people, man. And more importantly, man, we love you and appreciate all you do, man. You do so much, and man, we got your back. And my mother would always say, Ricky, there's always more for you than against you.
Man, thank you. And we want everybody out there that's watching to hear that. Bishop, thank you so much. Let everybody on, if y'all really want a positive word, you got to go to Bishop Walker's social media, always posting positive things.
Yeah.
In Nashville, need a church home. If you want to watch, how can they watch your ministry online, and how can they follow
appreciate it, Ricky. I want everybody to follow me at Joseph Walker 3. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3, man, and check out the Mount Zion Church at Mount Zion Nashville on our YouTube channel, Mount Zion Nashville on our YouTube channel, and also check out my wife and I. We have an awesome podcast out there called Our Life, Our Journey, Our Truth. So on YouTube, so check all that out. But follow me at Joseph Walker 3. I'll tell you more about it, and I appreciate y'all so much.
People like yourself, people like Ricky Lewis, Brian White, different us, man, that just kind of stood me up when I couldn't stand up. Appreciate you, man. Y'all are the epitome of what everything, the true meaning of friendship is essential to the soul. Root to the good, brother. Thank you, dog. Love you, man.
You, man.
All right, man. Thank y'all for watching, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. You'll be on in the morning.
On the morning. I'll be on the morning show. That's right.
But what song we gonna open up with in the morning?
Man, you know what? Man, ooh. You know, there's a song that they sung Sunday at the church. It really blessed me, man. And it's, I don't even know how you put it in context, because I know you like those old songs. I know you like those, but it's a song about hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I give you praise. It's so powerful. I'll sing it to you, but it's powerful, man. And worship song. I think it's important. Yeah.
Play that first. I'm gonna go ahead and send that over to the producer. We'll open up with that one.
That is. All right.
But for this, I give you praise.
That is. You already know. Yeah.
Beverly Crawford came to my show last night and came back to the dressing room.
She can sing her butt off, boy.
How about when she walked up to me, I said, that song is an A flat. Went right over to a piano backstage, started playing it, and she started singing, if the Lord don't do nothing else for me, he's done enough. So I'm going to play that one in the morning. Also, I love man. In the morning, 5 a.m.
Central Standard Time. We'll be right there.
Go. Love you, man. Bro.